I am Nonkululek's mother. Nonkululeko is the third born of my 8 children. She started grade 1 and progressed well until she was exempted from doing grade 6 because she was smart. She is a respectful child. Nonku does not have a boyfriend. She pays a lot of attention in her studies.
She is old enough now to handle all situations. She must respect other people as she's doing at home. She must not change her behavior. I think she is respectful at the university. They must also respect her. I have no problem.
Being away, it will be hard. I guess I'll call like every day because that's what my mother actually asked me to do. I get like a curfew some sort. So like at 6 o'clock you had better call so that we know you're okay. They're always so worried. I don't know why. So yeah, change of environment would be a bit weird for me at first, but I'm sure I can get used to it.
One of the issues that has been identified for the whole curriculum is that we need to become a lot more primary care focused. So a lot of the medical education has been kind of mostly done in regional and tertiary settings. So about only 20% of the whole clinical exposure in the curriculum is at district or primary care level. So that's one of the things that we're wanting to address. But even the way we have been thinking about primary care is that it goes up to the primary care clinic and not really taking that next step into the community. But actually in the community, that's where most of the that is where people live. That is where kind of people come from. So we're it's by moving further into the community, we're really taking like that step outside of the healthcare system and starting to engage in the life worlds of people. So really starting to see the life from out of the eyes of people in the community, and therefore making completely different sense of what people are like when they come into a clinic or into a hospital. I think there are a lot of people that haven't been in rural areas before, and for them I can imagine that this is kind of really a fear of the unknown. But I think it's also an incredible adventure, an incredible opportunity to kind of take a step into a context that one hasn't really kind of been to. So it's kind of on one level one could really think about it like as an adventure, like traveling to another country, like really stepping out of one's comfort zone and kind of recognizing that there's a completely different context out there. But what is really critical about that is that that isn't actually a foreign context to us. This is the context for kind of just under half of the country's population.
My new family.
Oh, first time.
Yes, I already love my new family.
one of the things that we spent a series of consultation meetings on was selection criteria for the families, and also the form of support for the families to be able to host the students comfortably. It was agreed that one of the things that need to be considered is electricity, because the students need to do their assignments after hours, and they need to submit this like weekly. And one of the things was that the household has to have one room that will be used by the student. It was agreed that the household has to have a cell phone network, because the students would need to have communication with their families and other relatives. In terms of the family support, the family would be supported or were supported with the bed, one single bed, the wardrobe, the table with 4 chairs, the microwave, the stove.
Ngisebenza lapha esibhedlela eMseleni Hospital.
I work at Mseleni Hospital in the laundry department. I do sewing.
Ngivuma ukuthi ingane zesikole zohlala la injongo yami.
I accept school children to come and stay in my home because I like to meet strangers and live with them as they come from universities and from different provinces. It was my wish to meet them and get to know each other. Since they come from institutions of higher learning, it was my wish that they stay with me since I am uneducated, so that we can learn from each other. I have a son who is still at high school. When my son sees them, he will be motivated to be like them.
My name is Piwe Monambi. This is my home, and I'm happy to welcome students here. It is good to be respected by students from institutions of higher learning. They are a motivation to anyone who wants to study at a university, because they will also be motivated to study and get their degrees.
Doctors here, our supervisors, they are really sweet, they are really nice people, and they take the time to teach us, and they take the time to make us feel welcome, and they teach us how to talk to patients, how to interview patients, take a history, examine patients, and they teach us procedures and stuff. So it's been really fun, and we get to go to different departments and see different patients every day. I even got to go to a primary health care clinic yesterday, which was really fun as well. Yeah, so it's been really great. The closest center we can get to a bank is Bazwana. It's close. I think we went there on Saturday actually. We were just doing a run around. We went there and came back, and it was a lot of fun. There are also a few spaza shops around where I can go and buy, say, airtime or something, but I don't really need to because they provide everything. If I want a snack, the snack is there in the house. I don't really need to. Well, yeah, and they bring me to and from the house. They bring me to school, to hospital, in a car, and then sometimes I'll just, if I want to take a walk, I'll just walk back. It's like a 20 minutes walk. So it's really close by, and I get to see the area when I'm walking around, get some fresh air, and yeah, it's really nice.
The experience was amazing, honestly. Firstly, because it was a household that is run by an old lady, and I myself was raised by my granny. So to me, it felt like home, and I actually felt like I could do more, and I could. I don't know how to put it, but I felt like this was one of the reasons why I actually did medicine in the first place, being in a community and actually being able to help out where I could with my medical knowledge that I've gained in medical school for the past 5 years. It's taught me to understand the kind of community I'm working with, and I thank the rural medicine block for that.
Initially, I was very scared about the whole thing, especially because of things I heard from close people like my family members. Some of them didn't like the idea of me going to homestay, but I was looking forward to it because I've never really stayed in a rural area, and I wanted to see the patients with a bigger perspective, more than just the disease. So I figured that maybe living in the community would also give me an idea of the people that I would be seeing at the hospital. With the program, for me, it was mostly the transportation, getting myself to and from the hospital, because we lived a distance from the hospital. So initially, I was scared of walking because you go through the markets. It's quite a distance, not that far, maybe 10 minutes walk, but when you're walking, you have to walk through certain obstacles, I would say. But I got through that, and in terms of transport, having transport to take me, collect me when I'm on intake, or collect me at night, that was also an issue. So yeah, other than that, I could just say it would be transport's issue. Everything else, I think it is okay.
For me, it was a very fun idea, because here you are going to this family that you have never seen before, and then going there to integrate yourself. That for me I had a feeling of an adventure. And then what also prompted me was that they told us we'll get our own rooms. So that was one of the things that prompted me, because at the park homes, we had to share a room, so I was not comfortable with the idea of sharing a bedroom. So that was one of the things that prompted me. Also, the idea that I'll be getting free food. So for me, that was very exciting, and that I'll be saving money.
I think for me, the most powerful thing was humility. I think it was a very humbling experience for me, in the fact that for the first time in my life as a doctor, I was able to relate to the people that I'm actually supposed to serve. You know, I was living the way they live, and going through what they go through. You know, for example, the way I was staying, I was staying in this roundabout. I had to boil water every morning when I've been taking a bath, and you know the sanitary services were outside. So for me, that was a bit new, but I adapted. It was okay. It was not that bad at all, you know. Yeah. So for me, it was humility. Not as much as, you know, as a person, you're entitled to certain things, certain conditions, but humbling yourself and say, you know what, for the sake of being the best doctor I can be, for the sake of learning, I'm going to humble myself and go through this particular situation for this time. What I would say to students who are still considering taking on this rural experience, I'd say go for it. It's definitely wonderful to develop you as a person, you know, to develop your character and your abilities as a doctor, you know. It's not any doctor that can handle the rural setting. So if you want to test how versatile you are as a doctor, I think the rules are placed for you to develop that, you know. So I'd really encourage every prospective doctor, prospective student to go on the real experience and just go for it and see how well they handle it. And it will definitely teach you a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about your weaknesses, your strengths, and a whole lot more. And not just concerning the medical setting, but life in general.